point should police quit chasing a dangerous suspect?
That's what a federal judge may have to decide after a woman who police were chasing died in a crash. Here's News 13's Aaron Drawhorn with the video of the chase that's led to a lawsuit.
Dean, Jessica, state police were after a speeder who tried to make his getaway through oncoming traffic. Looking at this, the officers clearly thought he was putting lives in danger. He ended up killing his own passenger.
We're going about 90 miles an hour.
Your eyes aren't fooling you. That driver is doing 90 into oncoming traffic. But the way that November chase in Clovis ended,
Be advised, truck just flipped over.
has the passenger's family filing a wrongful death lawsuit claiming state police officers engaged in an unnecessary and inherently dangerous high-speed pursuit of the driver, Kyle Malhorter, which in turn caused him to conduct himself in an unsafe manner as he fled from state police. Malhorter's passenger, Corey Woods of Norman, Oklahoma, died at the scene of the crash. This is what police were seeing 7 minutes earlier.
It's going to oncoming traffic, ma'am.
Malhorter, in what turned out to be a stolen truck, drove into oncoming traffic not once, not twice, but 3 times, forcing other drivers to pull over or veer off the highway to save their own lives. Malhorter had his chances to give up. The 7-minute chase saw state police try to spin out the truck with 2 pit maneuvers. The second sent Malhorter careening across the highway and to a stop. That's when officers saw he had a passenger. And that's when Malhorter made the fatal mistake of trying to get away one more time. Woods' family claims that's also when police should have abandoned the chase, knowing there was a passenger in danger. Less than 90 seconds later, and at close to 90 miles an hour, Malhorter would hit a dirt mound and a gate, landing in a ditch. One of the officers, following blindly through a cloud of dust, would come to a stop against the truck.
He took off? Where's he at?
While Malhorter took off running right away, within minutes, paramedics instantly knew Corey Woods was already gone. State police do not comment on current lawsuits, but according to DPS's policies, officers may engage in a high-speed chase if the driver poses a clear threat to other people on the road. Jessica, back to you.
All right, thank you, Aaron. Police caught Malhorter hiding nearby. He just pled guilty last month to vehicular homicide and for the stolen truck. He faced more than 15 years, but got 6.